What's up, guys? Let's get into Wednesday's price action. Today was another choppy session, but there was a couple of interesting moments. I'll walk you through the key levels, how the day developed, and the one setup I took in the afternoon. Here is the 15-minute chart just before the open. The key levels I had marked were the Tuesday high, the 8:15 a.m. fair value gap, the London low, and the Asia low. The market had been pushing lower overnight and was sitting in a zone where both the London low and Asia low were potential targets. My plan heading into the session was to watch how price reacts at 8:15 FVG above and see if there was a setup forming towards those lows. Now this is what the market looked like around 10:10. After the open, the market came up and respected the 8:15 15-minute fair value gap. You can see the rejection there. Setup did actually form on the 1-minute time frame around 9:40 a.m. and it was pointing toward the London and Asia lows below. But the problem was it formed within the first 15 minutes of the session. There is a rule I stick to. I don't take setups in the first 15 minutes after regular trading hours. The market is too unpredictable in that window and the risk isn't worth it. So I skipped that trade. You can see the market pushed lower almost to our target, but then reversed sharply back up. Now this is around 11:15. The market came back up, touched the 8:15 FEG again. This time it closed the gap. I thought they were going to take the Tuesday's highs, but it reversed and started moving lower again. This time it followed through and swept both the Asia and the London low. Once those lows were taken, I no longer had a downside bias. The liquidity targets below were done. Then price came back up, touched the 11 AM FEG, rejected it, but since all the downside targets were already taken, I wasn't interested in shorting from there. Instead, I started watching for a potential long setup. A small 12-15 minute fair value gap formed and price respected it, coming into that zone and starting to push higher. This is where my attention shifted to the long side. The downside targets were done, a gap formed on the pullback, and price was showing signs of wanting to move up. So I started looking for a long setup on the lower time frame from this zone. Zooming into the 1-minute chart, you can see the long setup that formed. I entered long around 24,410 with a 25-point stop and a target at 24,450, giving a solid 1.6 risk to reward on the trade. Now I know a 1.6 R is on the lower end, but the setup was clean and the structure supported the long bias after the lows were taken. Price moved in our favor and hit the target. The trade closed at 1.6 R, a 40 points profit, a small but a clean win. Now looking at the full day on the 15-minute, you can see just how choppy Wednesday was. The market swept the lows in the morning, reversed, traded sideways for most of the session, and ended the day well below the Tuesday high. Overall, another difficult day. The clearest setup was the 940 short, which I skipped due to my first 15-minute rule, and the afternoon long that hit the target. Sometimes on days like this, taking the small win and walking away is the best outcome. So that was Wednesday. One setup, 1.6 hour win, and a patient approach throughout the day. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing, and I'll see you tomorrow.